Delighted to be joined by the man in Sheffield, Richard Towers. How are you, mate?
Yes, KUGAN, I'm brilliant, thanks, pal. I'm brilliant.
All good, all good. Heavyweight division now is more talked about, shall we say, than it has been for quite some time. We've finally got fights that we've seen and fights that we could see as well. So many different matchups. And I suppose after Anthony Joshua's quite dramatic win over Wladimir Klitschko, it's opened up all these possibilities of, you know, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker. But for you, currently, who sits at the top of this heavyweight tree?
Well, you know, firstly, I've got to say my boy, not only because he's my friend, my good friend, and my brother from another mother, so they say, but Deontay Wilder, I think he's the most risky fighter heavyweight fighter out there right now, because Deontay will tell you himself, he say, you know, I'm not looking at skilling you, I'm not looking at getting in there and being tactful, because I'm looking to get in there and, you know, motherfucker, now you out. So I think there's like you said, there's a big variety. I think there's a very exciting market there now in the heavyweight division, in boxing, in British boxing in general. Then you've got these guys from overseas. Parker's doing his thing, looking good, doing his thing. You know, he's just got one little thing what I can't get my head round. Like when it's not even like he's defending and doing it, but people will throw shots at him, and you know everybody will notice this now. But not to say I'm the one what notices the mistakes. You know, I've made plenty in my life, but people will throw punches at him or, you know, feint him, and he'll do that. And it's some people have not seen it. And I'm like, you've not seen that. And in the heavyweight game, you know, I know that's logical. It's a dangerous thing to do, but Parker's doing his thing. You know, Deontay's doing more than his thing. You know, what has he got? A 99% knockout rate. And then you've got, from over here, you've got Joshua, you've got Dillian White, you've got all these guys, you know, Dave Allen, he's hanging in there. You know, it's good to see. And it's, like you say, it's exciting because every one of them's got something that they bring to the table. Dave's got his little jokes, you know, with the socks in his, in front of his nuts and things like that. And Dillian, his game as a badger, just wants to get in there and just scrap and just rip holes wherever he can rip them. Then you've got Anthony Joshua getting in there. You know, he's a household name now, and everybody's singing his name. And you know, boxing needs that. And these guys, the whole heavyweight division, the worldwide scale of heavyweight division, is very promising. And you know, I've got the fortunate benefit of, you know, being able to sneak in as big as I am, being able to sneak in the back door to many shows. But even if I had to pay, I'd be paying to get in to watch all the up and coming fights or potential up and coming fights. You know, you've got everybody talking, everybody's wanting to fight each other. How boxing should be, you know, because one of the things that left a bad taste in my mouth, not that, you know, anybody cares, but one of the bad things that left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth is, you know, it could be considered more of a business at times, boxing. And I understand everybody's got to get paid. I understand everybody's got to benefit in their way, in their contribution, with their contribution. But it started to lose the significance of, you know, two brave warriors stood in front of each other, trying to take each other's heads off, you know, speaking bluntly. And it kind of left a bit of a bad taste, because it were like certain fights I couldn't get, and this and that, and you know, I can play the violins all day, but you know, I'm not here to do that. I'm just trying to explain that it's changing now, and people who can fight, they're getting put in front of each other. You know, people what aren't really considered as those fighters what are in clean fights. You know, like Dave Allen, he gets in there, he does his thing, takes a lot of shots, and tries to give a lot of shots, and you know, he's in the light of things, you know, with the experience he's got in comparison to everybody else, he's doing his thing, and it's proud for me to see, because I know the fella, and he's doing his thing. So everybody's been given a chance, and that's what I think boxing's about. So the heavyweights, you know, because it's appropriate for me to talk about this, being that we're involved in it. It's definitely an attractive division at the moment. So yeah.
The missing jigsaw piece to this puzzle seems to be Tyson Fury We know he's in the middle of this UCAD hearing. It's a bit unclear about what's going on, but this was the man that dethroned the man 18 months ago. We haven't seen him in the ring since. We obviously well publicised. We've seen well publicised problems to do with his mental state and depression. But boxing really does need Tyson Fury back, surely, Richard.
Do you know what? One thing that sticks in my mind when people talk about, psychological problems and things like that, and I must speak about Brendan Ingle every day of my life. I was speaking to John Ingle yesterday, and I don't know if he thought that I was just saying it to, so because I thought the message might get back to Brendan or something like that, but I was saying, I speak about Brendan every day. I miss him so much because Brendan had come out with little things, and you wouldn't get it straight away. But as soon as you got a little bit of time, and in elite training, what I like to call it, because I was training on an elite level, as elite as you can get. When you're surrounded by champions, you've got no other choice because they're your competition. The elite fighters, Kell, Barry, Junior, all these guys they're pushing the thing, and they just happen to be smaller than me. Then I move with my man Adam Booth, and he's got all these fighters. First it was, I think when I was there, David A was there, George Groves was there, Andy Lee was there. And I've watched Andy sparring Andy Lee, and he's training, and he's training. Boom, we're doing it was called F 'em Up Friday, and every Friday we have an F 'em Up session. And I remember Andy being on the bags, boom. This is before he won the world title, before he were even in contentions for a world title. I think he boxed a fella in Denmark, just a journeyman fella. And before that fight, I remember the training sessions, and we were doing the bags, and he's on the bags, bam. And he just stopped, looked at me, and I was like, "You all right, Andy?" "Yeah, no, I'm on the bags doing my tempo rhythm." And he just looked at me and went, "Ugh," and just sicked on the floor, wiped his mouth, and got back to working. And that's the elite level training I'm talking about. So I've been amongst it. I've been amongst these guys, and things always stick in my mind what Brendan used to say to me, because he'd say it amongst these times of training and these times of struggle. He'd come over to me and just whisper in my ear, "You all right?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm good, Bren." And he'd go, "I read an article," and I go, "Right, Bren." And I'd be on bags, doing bags and moving around, and he'd go, "Pay attention while you're doing your thing." So I'd say, I'm listening, Bren. And he'd go, "I read an article," and I go, "Right." He'd go, 1 in 4 people suffer from some form of mental problem. And it didn't mean anything at first. I remember thinking, "Oh, yeah, I think I'm on my 8th round this particular time." I remember the significance of it. And it was only till I went home, carried out the rest of the time that I had in Brendan's gym, and being sat with Adam, sat talking to Adam, because we have many a deep conversation. We've just been talking now. And I said to him, "You know what Brendan once said to me? 1 in 4 people," because we were speaking about a particular subject where people walk past me and they see the size of me, and you'll see that they've not noticed me. They'll be in a distance. You'll see that they've not noticed me, and then all of a sudden they'll notice me out corner eye, and the posture will change, and they'll go, and sometimes they even barge into me, and I'll be like, "Why do people do this, Adam? Why do people cause trouble? When it comes to it, they're not going to be able to handle it." And because you know what Brendan once said to me? 1 in 4 people suffer from some form of mental problem. And that answered everything to me. Everybody has got some form of mental, challenge, or whatever you want to call it. And Tyson Fury is no different. Do you know what I mean? And when you're involved in boxing, you get to know yourself, in my opinion, better than any other professional. Better than any other profession. You get to know yourself in boxing. You get to know if you're a coward or not. You get to know if you've got the guts or not. You get to know if you've got the will and drive or not. You get to know if you're fit or not. You get to know if you're actually what you thought you were. And if you're not prepared to let go of everything you believed you were, you probably won't succeed. And it's probably why I got to a significant level as I was ever going to get to, considering where I came from. But you get to know yourself. And when I look at Tyson Fury, when I speak to Tyson Fury, I don't see a guy what's got any particularly different mental problem or whatever. I don't look at him like that. but I think it's just a phase. And I'll tell you this, you know, more to the point, Tyson Fury gets in that ring with anybody. You saw what he did with Wladimir Klitschko. You know, I sparred with Wladimir for that fight to Tyson. Well, it was more his Uncle Peter's disapproval, but that's another story. But I sparred with him for that fight, and you know, the only way I can handle Wladimir, you know, I've still got a straight nose, as you can see, and I'm still, I'm joking, yeah. Now, so the only way I could handle that guy, you know, being in the ring with a guy what's, you know, 30 years experienced, was to show him all the tricks in the book. All Brendan had showed me, all Adam had showed me, just a combination of everything, and he couldn't hit me. And that particular training camp, not saying that I played a significant part in Tyson Fury beating Wladimir. Well, joking. No, I gave Wladimir problems. You know, I gave him problems. I'm sure he'd sit and tell you he's a man. You know, he's a dignified man. But I gave him all the problems in the world, and I think I hurt him a few times, and they didn't keep me on for sparring because he couldn't hit me, and they sparred a week with me, and then they actually asked me, yeah, Richard, can you, you know, when you're sparring, can you just stand a bit more upright, you know? And I was like, Tyson Fury ain't gonna do that, so why am I gonna do that? And plus, I ain't standing and getting hit for nobody, not a Wladimir Klitschko. So I'll get in and do my own thing. So I lasted a week, and then they said, oh, yeah, you're okay today. But what I understand is an old trick Lennox Lewis used to play. No disrespect, champion, if you're watching this. Lennox Lewis used to play was he'd employ sparring partners so the next man couldn't employ them, and he'd pay them like ridiculous amounts of money. Wladimir, you know, pays really good money too, so I was happy to be sat there and not having my brains punched in. I'd have liked to have been learning at the time, but in actual fact, I don't think there's any point more appropriate that it could have been some of the best sparring that he had for that Tyson Fury fight. For Tyson's sake, I'm glad that they put me to the side, because Tyson got in there and, you know, threw all the tricks at him, and that's what beat him. And again, you know, I'm not saying I helped you, Tyson, you know. You're gonna run me my juice. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the significance of doing things when you're uncomfortable, you know, doing things when you're having mental battles, doing things when, you know, times are hard. They're actually the most important times. They're the things that you get most from. So I think, you know, it's no, like I say, it's no different for Tyson Fury. It's no different for Deontay Wilder. It's no different for Anthony Joshua. These guys are committed. These guys are putting the dues in. These guys are standing the test of time, and they're going through the bad times, and now you're seeing the good times. So they deserve the respect, man, and I'm watching with a close eye on Deontay's behalf. I love that guy, man. So, you know, I want him to do well because I love his kids. I love Deontay. You know, this guy is a beautiful human being. You know, not just because of that, but because I know what he's putting in.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that insight. It's very interesting to listen to, you know, a little bit of what goes on that people might not know about leading into camps, etc. And so it's, I found that interesting myself, actually.
Thank you, KUGAN.
Richard,
Always a pleasure, man.
thank you very much for talking to us. And listen, we'll definitely catch up with you soon. Richard Towers.
Definitely, man. Thanks, KUGAN. Appreciate you. Thank you.